What does it take to reshape a kingdom and to leave your mark on both sides of a sea? William the Conqueror didn't just win a battle, he built a legacy in stone, faith, and strategy. In this episode, we walk the path of a duke who became a king, through the castles that watched him rise and the cathedrals that guarded his soul. We begin in Falaise, a fortified town nestled in the heart of Normandy. Here stands Château de Falaise, where William was born around 1028. The fortress, perched dramatically on a rocky bluff, was the stronghold of his father, Duke Robert I of Normandy. The site's strategic location, commanding views over the surrounding plain, was a fitting birthplace for a boy who would someday lay claim to a kingdom across the sea. Though much of the castle was reconstructed in later centuries, the imposing keep remains a symbol of William's precarious beginnings. Known as William the Bastard, he overcame early political instability to claim and consolidate power. Today, Château de Falaise houses a museum with multimedia exhibits and reconstructed interiors, bringing the young duke's formative years vividly to life. Less than 100 kilometers northwest lies Caen, the city that became William's political and spiritual base. In 1063, he founded the Abbeys aux Hommes, the men's abbey, as a gesture of penance for marrying his cousin, Matilda of Flanders, without papal dispensation. The Romanesque church, with its grand vaulted nave and austere elegance, would become his final resting place. His tomb lies at the heart of this abbey, symbolizing a ruler who sought divine legitimacy alongside military might. Just across town, Matilda founded the Abbaye aux Dames, or Women's Abbey, a counterpart in both purpose and splendor. She too is buried beneath its stone floors. These twin abbeys not only served religious functions, but also asserted Norman authority in Caen, transforming the city into a center of learning, worship, and governance. Overlooking Caen from a neighboring hill rises the Château de Caen, a massive fortress begun by William around 1060. It was both a palace and a military stronghold, one of the largest medieval castles in Europe. Its thick curtain walls, high towers, and broad ramparts demonstrated Norman architectural prowess and projected ducal power throughout the region. Within these walls, political decisions were made, armies mustered, and royal authority displayed. To understand William's greatest gamble, the conquest of England, we traveled to the coast. At Dives-sur-Mer, William assembled his invasion fleet and army in the summer of 1066. Though the harbor has long since silted up, the Church of Notre Dame still stands. Inside, a marble plaque commemorates the names of the knights and nobles who crossed the Channel with William. Nearby, a small museum details the scale and organization behind this unprecedented military endeavor. The fleet then moved to Saint-Valery-sur-Somme, where it waited weeks for favorable winds. The abbey there, home to the relics of Saint-Valery, was visited by William himself to seek divine blessing for the perilous crossing ahead. This quiet estuarial town was, for a few tense weeks, the edge of a world about to change. Crossing the Channel, William landed at Pevensey on September 28, 1066. He quickly refortified the decaying Roman walls into a defensive position. Within days, he moved east and constructed a temporary wooden Motte and Bailey castle at Hastings. Though later rebuilt in stone by his successors, these early castles were not merely tactical, they were psychological. They announced to the Anglo-Saxon realm that a new power had arrived. These strongholds enabled William to secure supply lines and stage further advances inland. After securing the throne, William launched a massive program of castle building to fortify Norman control. One of the most iconic is the Tower of London. The construction of the White Tower began around 1078 under the supervision of Bishop Gundulf of Rochester. Built of Kentish ragstone and Caen limestone, the White Tower was a royal residence, military barracks, and prison, a towering reminder of Norman authority in the heart of the capital. it was unlike anything seen in Anglo-Saxon England, a fortress palace rising above London's timber skyline. Further west, in the historic city of Winchester, William continued to reshape the spiritual and administrative landscape. Though the original Anglo-Saxon minster stood tall, it was under William's appointed bishops that the cathedral was redesigned in the new Romanesque style, beginning in 1079. The rebuilding was a symbolic act, demonstrating Norman influence over English religion, culture, and civic structure. Winchester had long served as the royal capital, home to the treasury and royal court. Under William, it remained a hub of administration and ecclesiastical power. The new cathedral, with its soaring arches and imposing west front, reflected not just divine glory, but political stability. It would become the burial place for kings, saints, and bishops alike, a living monument to Norman rule carved in stone. And finally, we return to Bayeux, back across the Channel in Normandy. There, William's half-brother Bishop Odo commissioned the legendary Bayeux Tapestry, an embroidered panorama nearly 70 meters long, chronicling the events leading up to and including the Battle of Hastings. In Bayeux Cathedral, a place of Gothic majesty and earlier Romanesque roots, Harold Godwinson is said to have sworn his fateful oath to support William's claim to the English crown. The tapestry, likely once displayed within this cathedral, served as a powerful tool of propaganda, detailing not just the conquest, but justifying it. Today, both the tapestry and cathedral stand as testaments to the sophisticated visual culture and clerical ambition of the Norman court. From Falaise to Winchester, from Caen to the Tower of London, William the Conqueror's legacy can still be touched in stone, timber, and tapestry. These are not just relics. They are the surviving framework of a world reshaped by one man's ambition, faith, and vision. If you found this journey into Norman Europe enlightening, subscribe for more historical deep dives into the empires, castles, and conquests that shaped our world.